Welcome to Release Readiness Live. I'm Christy Moscoso, your Release Readiness champion. We are broadcasting from our home studios all of this week to share some new features in the Winter 21 release. After our product team shares the highlights, we'll spend some time taking questions on air. We will be monitoring both the Release Readiness Trailblazer community and Twitter, so post your questions as soon as you think of them with the hashtag Salesforce Live. I recommend posting your longer, more detailed questions in the community where the conversation can continue after this webcast. If we don't get to your questions on air, we'll be sure to follow up with you within a few days. All of our webcasts will be available on the Salesforce Live website for later viewing. And since we may be covering roadmap, we will be making some forward-looking statements, so please make your purchasing decisions based on currently available functionality. Now let's get started with Marketing Cloud and meet our product managers.
Thanks, Christina. My name is Max Ebb, and I'm a product manager for Interaction Studio. As many of you may know, Salesforce acquired Evergage in February of this year to be the new Interaction Studio and enhance Salesforce's ability to drive one-to-one real-time personalization and RTIM across verticals and customer touchpoints. Besides Evergage being recently rebranded as Interaction Studio, we've been hard at work integrating to the broader Salesforce ecosystem and enhancing a product already recognized by clients and analysts as a market leader in the space. Let's jump into the content. Our status as an innovator and leader is largely linked to the fact that businesses have shifted from a brand-centric one-to-all marketing strategy to an audience-centric one-to-many strategy. But in today's world, further emphasized and accelerated by a somewhat unexpected catalyst for digital-first business transformation in the form of a global pandemic, businesses need to do better. Marketing and interaction management needs to be Rachel-centric. This means one-to-one and delivered in the moment in true real time in less than 30 milliseconds, wherever Rachel might be. This type of decisioning and real-time relevance requires advanced AI and a deep customer understanding to make that happen. To facilitate relevant engagement across each of these three tiers, we built Interaction Studio to perform 4 fundamental actions better than any other platform on the market, and that is to listen, understand, decide, and act. Interaction Studio listens to how customers are interacting with your brand across channels and interprets that data to understand each individual, whether they are known or anonymous, then decides what campaigns, segments, or experiences an individual qualifies for, and acts on these insights gathered to deliver the right experience, recommendation, or next best action or offer in real time. To bring these 4 verbs to life, let's take a look at what this real-time decisioning looks like. For this demonstration, we'll be using Rachel Morris as our hero customer alongside our fictitious bank, Cumulus Financial. Rachel is an existing customer with Cumulus, but will be visiting Cumulus on a new device, and therefore appears to be a first-time anonymous visitor. As Rachel begins to navigate the site and ultimately branch out into additional channels, you'll get a first-hand look at how Interaction Studio is able to build up a deep, real-time profile, perform a real-time identity merge, and finally, power real-time, cross-channel, AI-driven decisioning. When Rachel lands on the Cumulus site as that apparent new visitor, she is greeted on the Cumulus homepage by a relatively generic homepage hero offer. In the background, Interaction Studio creates a new anonymous profile for Rachel in real time by dropping a first-party cookie. This profile will build up in session based on her behaviors and actions and be leveraged to inform AI-driven decisioning. Since Rachel is considering buying her first home, she decides to explore Cumulus's home mortgage options. As she is exploring, Rachel sees a link to an article about first-time home buyers, which is exactly what she is looking for, so clicks into the article and begins to read the content. As Rachel is engaging with the content on Cumulus's site, Interaction Studio is updating her anonymous profile in real time. Let's take a look at that depth of data that is being captured on the back end. As you can see, Rachel's anonymous profile is already full of rich insights based on Interaction Studio's ability to pair a deep contextual understanding of the business with her clickstream and active time spent engagement data. By not limiting ourselves to just clickstream and conversion data and looking at that true engagement data like time spent, scroll depth, mouse movement, etc., we are able to build up a much deeper understanding of Rachel much more quickly, as we are not beholden to that sparse data problem often associated with looking at just click and conversion data. This depth of data stored on the profile will also ultimately power Interaction Studio's AI-driven decisioning around what offers and recommendations to display to Rachel. Let's jump back to the site to see this in action. After finishing the article, Rachel decides to return to the homepage. When she lands on the homepage, Interaction Studio is able to personalize the entire experience in real time based on that anonymous profile we just looked at. The hero offer is now relevant to individuals considering home buying, and the article recommendations maps to both her current lifecycle state and interest area. All of these decisions are powered by Interaction Studio's white box machine learning. Now, like many of us these days, Rachel may need to go tend to a crying toddler or pick up an Amazon package and goes to abandon the page. Interaction Studio recognizes this classic abandonment behavior of mousing towards the top of the page and triggers a pop-up message encouraging Rachel to start the pre-approval process. This pop-up catches Rachel's eye, so she clicks through and begins to fill in the application before ultimately abandoning after completing the first step. By completing that first step, however, Rachel provides Interaction Studio with a digital identifier, in this case, her email. By sharing this identifier, Interaction Studio is able to recognize that this Rachel Morris is actually the same Rachel Morris that is an existing Cumulus Checkings account customer, and thus perform a real-time identity merge that brings her anonymous data into her existing known profile. By being able to perform this real-time merge, Interaction Studio can now leverage the full breadth and depth of information on Rachel to inform subsequent cross-channel interactions. In this case, Rachel ultimately decides to contact her local advisor, either later that day or week, to discuss a few questions that she has about the home mortgage process. When she calls her advisor, he's able to easily pull up her contact profile in Sales and Service Cloud, where he is presented with real-time next best offer and content recommendations, as well as information around Rachel's recent web behavior to help drive a more informed conversation. This seamless connection across channels and touchpoints helps leave Rachel feeling understood and confident, so she decides to proceed with her mortgage loan. While this demonstration was definitely an accelerated consideration cycle for a prospective mortgage customer, it highlights Interaction Studio's ability to listen to your customers' actions, behaviors, and engagements with great depth, understand them as an individual, whether they are known or anonymous, decide on that data in real time by leveraging flexible white box ML, and act on those decisions with individual relevance across channels and interaction points. From a roadmap perspective, we've made immense progress integrating with the broader Salesforce ecosystem in our first 2 quarters as part of the Salesforce Ohana, including single sign-on to Marketing Cloud, adhering to Salesforce's trust and security standards, and releasing our sales and service next best offer and recommendations connector that you saw demonstrated in today's presentation. As we continue to push forward on our product roadmap, we have a number of exciting items underway, including the ability to kick off a journey in Marketing Cloud in real time through a real-time segment join, and the ability to trigger one-off email sends through Marketing Cloud. If you're interested in learning more about Interaction Studio, we've included links and resources at the end of this presentation, and please don't hesitate to reach out. With that, I'll pass the mic over to Jen to talk to you about Journey Builder.
Thanks, Max. Hi, my name is Jen Mavis, and I'm a Senior Product Manager at Salesforce Marketing Cloud. I'm so happy to be here today to tell you about some fantastic features that are now available in Journey Builder. I have some exciting news on Marketing Cloud's campaign testing capabilities. Journey Builder customers are now able to perform both A/B and multivariate tests to determine the optimal path in your journey for audience members. With Path Optimizer, customers are able to have true multivariate path testing by creating up to 10 different paths, as well as multiple tests in a single journey. to test content, cadence, frequency of sends, or even the type of messaging channel. Path Optimizer also has flexible configurations where customers can set their tests to automatically determine the winner based on engagement or manually select the winner at any time. And customers can step beyond traditional A/B testing with not only subject line and content testing, but can also optimize outcomes from cross-cloud actions, Einstein STO effectiveness, and even custom activities. Now let's jump into a demo. I'm going to start with an existing multi-step welcome journey in Journey Builder. I have a welcome email that I've been using, but I want to test different subject lines to see if I can boost my engagement with new subscribers. We now have the ability to do that with Path Optimizer. On the left-hand side of my screen, I'll scroll down to Flow Controls and select Path Optimizer and drag it onto the canvas in front of my welcome email. I can already see that my canvas has changed to show a split, which is good, but my email activity isn't inside my path. So I'll drag that over and have it be my first path. I actually want to have even more paths in my tests, so let me see if I can click into it and configure it a bit. When I open it, I can see a button to configure my winner evaluation. That's exactly what I want to do, so I'll click into it. This presents me with my options for configuring my winner type, which is how I want my test to evaluate the winner. I can choose to either have a winner automatically selected based on email engagement, or I can manually come back to my journey once it's active and select a winner on my own. I want this to happen automatically, so I'll choose email engagement. Once I do that, it opens up a few more options. Now I can select the type of engagement that I want to measure, either click rate, open rate, or unsubscribe rate. Since I'll be testing subject lines, I want to know if the emails are actually getting opened, so I will choose open rate. I can also configure how long I want this test to wait before choosing a winner, either days or hours. I'm going to give this a few days, so I'll go ahead and select 4 days. Next, I'll click on Split. This is going to determine how many paths I'm testing. The default is a 50-50 split, but I actually have 4 different subject lines to test. So I'll add 2 more paths and keep them with an even split of 25% on each. Next, I'll click on Hold Back. Since I'm only running this once, I can hold back a certain percentage of my contacts to wait and send them the winning or most engaging email subject line. This is great because then I can ensure that I will get the highest engagement from my contacts. I'm going to test about 20% of my contacts and then send the winning subject line to the rest. Now that my path is configured, I can click Done and go back to the canvas to configure my emails. My canvas has now updated to show 4 different paths. Next, I want to copy this email activity so that I can use the same email but with a different subject line in each of my paths. I can easily do this by clicking on the copy icon at the top. Now I just need to select my email activity and click on Copy Selection. By doing this, it will copy the activity to the clipboard. Now I can drag this activity onto the canvas in my 4 paths to test the different subject lines. After I drag the email activity into each path, I need to change the subject lines for each of my emails. I can do this by clicking into the second email, which opens up the configuration screen. I'll then click on the Edit button for the message configuration. I can now edit my email subject line to test a different variant. I can see my original subject line is populated, so I'll go ahead and edit this to enter in the new subject line that I want to test and click Done. Then go back to the summary screen and click Done. All that's left to do now is update my other 2 email activities with the alternative subject lines, then validate my journey, and click Activate to get it running and start testing out my subject lines with Path Optimizer. Next, we've leveraged the power of email and Mobile Studio right within Journey Builder, with access to a new streamlined single send experience in the Journey Builder canvas. This simple guided experience allows customers to easily send one-time email, SMS, or push notification messages, without ever leaving Journey Builder. Examples might be an email promoting your weekend sale, or a push notification alerting users of a new feature in your app. Not only does this provide a new, consistent workspace for single and multi-step journeys regardless of channel, it also allows for a unified view of campaigns. Customers won't need to navigate across multiple apps anymore to manage batch, transactional, and multi-step journeys. And because this guided experience is such an easy starting point for those that are new to Journey Builder, many will find that by starting with single sends, up-leveling to multi-step journeys is a piece of cake. But let me show you how this works with a demo. On the Marketing Cloud dashboard, let's click into Journey Builder so that I can show you how to create a single send journey. From the Journey dashboard page, I'll click on Create New Journey. As you can see, I have 3 options for creating a journey. For this journey, I want to do a simple one-time send out to my audience. I know that I want to send a push notification, but if I wanted to, I could choose to send an email or an SMS without ever having to leave Journey Builder. I'll go ahead and select Push. Now I can see that my canvas shows a simple path for setting up my audience, message, and schedule for my one-time send. I also have some guided instructions on the left-hand side of the screen to help me with each step. First, I'll go ahead and set up my audience by clicking on the audience icon. Since this is a push notification, I have the ability to select the filtered contact list that I created in Contact Builder. I'll select the list I created for this one-time send and click Select. Now that my audience is configured, I can start working on my message by clicking into the push activity. When I open the push activity, I have an option to create a new message right within the journey, or select a message that I've already created. I'll go ahead and click on Select Message since I have my message ready to go. This opens up all of my push notification messages created in Content Builder. I also have the option of selecting a message created in Mobile Studio. But for this particular send, I will choose the message created in Content Builder and click on Summary. Now that my content is selected, I will need to configure the application that I want to send this message to by clicking on the Edit button under Message Configuration. I'll click on the App dropdown and select the app that I want to send to and click on Summary. Now that my push message is configured, I can go ahead and click on Done. The last thing I need to do is schedule when my push message will be sent. Since this is a quick one-time send, I can either send this message immediately when I activate my journey, or I can schedule it to be sent in the future. I'm actually ready for this to go out, so I can select On Activation, and it will be sent as soon as I validate my journey and click on Send. Let's talk about transactional messaging. We all receive transactional messages, whether it is an email confirmation that shows up immediately when we make an online purchase, or an email that asks us to confirm our identity when we sign into a new app. With this release, we've taken the next step to making sure you can easily include these critical messages in your marketing campaign by adding them to Journey Builder. You now have the ability to create, manage, and personalize your transactional API emails with Journey Builder's simple workflow without developer support. You'll be able to gain insights on health and performance of your transactional sends with our new dashboard and manage all of your transactional, single, and multi-step journeys from the unified Journey Builder workspace. Let's jump back into Journey Builder and see this in action. On the Marketing Cloud dashboard, let's click into Journey Builder so that I can show you how to create a transactional journey. From Journey Dashboard, I will click on Create New Journey to get started. Now I can see that I have 3 options for creating a journey. For this journey, I want to use the Transactional API to send an email confirmation message every time a customer places an online order. So I will select the Transactional Email option. Before I get started on my send, I'll go ahead and name my transactional journey so that I can find it later. From here, I can see that I have guided information on the left-hand side to explain how to create my transactional journey. The first thing I want to do is create my API event, the event that will trigger my message to be sent. So I'll click on Transactional API Event to configure it. Once I select my transactional API event, I'm going to enter in my event definition key. This key is what you need to give the developer connecting your transactional system to Marketing Cloud. And then select a data extension. This is a triggered send data extension. The key difference here is that unlike a single send or a multi-step journey, this is not the list of users that I'm going to pull from to send to. Instead, this is where I will be logging data to. And the only data extensions shown here are my triggered send data extensions, templates, to avoid any confusion. So I'll go ahead and select my data extension and click Summary. Then I'll click Done and select my email activity to set up my message. From here, I have the option to create a new message or select message, which will open up my pre-created email messages in Content Builder. I'll click on Select Message. From within the Content Builder view, I will find my order confirmation email and select it and click on Summary to go back to my Journey Summary page. Now that my content is selected, if all else looks good for my email configuration, I can click Done. Once my journey is fully configured, I can go ahead and activate it. If I were to click on Save, it would not create the triggered send, but will save this message so that I could activate it later. I like to activate now though, so I can click on Activate and then confirm that activation. It's ready to go. Once it's running, I can now send messages against this. And if I click back to my Journeys dashboard, I can select the transactional dashboard and see the transactional journey that I just created is listed. The transactional dashboard allows me to see sent and error metrics in real time. Keep in mind that these metrics show the data from the past 24 hours. And that wraps up Journey Builder. Next up is Justin.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, everyone. My name is Justin Kim, and I'm a product manager on the Marketing Cloud Einstein team. And I'm excited to share with you that Einstein Send Time Optimization for mobile push is now available for you today. Personalization is becoming increasingly important when it comes to marketing. Creating great personalized content is a common way that marketers add in personalization. But personalization goes beyond just the content. It actually extends to when that content also gets delivered. You may be familiar with Einstein STO for email, and now we've brought that same capability to mobile push as well. With STO for mobile push, Einstein will determine the best time to send your messages for each of your contacts. Previously, you may have had to get multiple systems, data, and teams involved to determine only what ended up being the average best time when all of your message will be sent out. Einstein understands that each of your contacts may prefer to get their messages at different times. So push notifications will be sent out at the optimal time for each of your contacts so that it's personalized rather than a single best time across the board. Additionally, with mobile, we go one level further because we understand that you may have multiple apps and that each of those apps have different types of engagement. So not only did we add in personalization at the contact level, but also at the app level. So each contact's best time will be customized for each of your apps. Now with that, I want to jump into a demo to show you how this all works. Here we're in Journey Builder, and you'll see a couple of things. First, you'll see that the Einstein STO activity is placed before an email activity. This is STO for email. But next, you'll see that Einstein STO also supports mobile push. We actually have the same Einstein STO activity placed before some push activities. So the way you set it up is like this. After you've dragged in an Einstein STO activity immediately before a push notification, click on the Einstein STO activity and select a time frame. Selecting a time frame is a really important step because suppose you want to send out a notification about a promotion that is set to expire within a few days. I want to make sure that that push notification is sent out before it expires so that customers have a chance to take advantage of the promotion. Here I selected the 24-hour time frame. And now I'm all set up. So Einstein will determine the personalized best time for each of your contacts for this app within 24 hours. We also provide the same level of analytics on Einstein STO dashboard for mobile push as we did with email. Here you can see an overview of how many contacts you have, how many of them received a personalized send time, and how many of them are pending a personalized send time. Contacts who are pending a personalized send time means that they don't have enough data yet. Maybe they haven't opened any messages, or maybe they haven't been sent any messages yet. What happens in this scenario is we still want to make sure that they receive the message at an appropriate time. So Einstein will actually default to send these contacts the app's overall average best time. Additionally, below, you'll also be able to see information like when messages are likely to be opened throughout the week. So this is where you can quickly get analytics on things like which day or hour has the highest likelihood of a message being opened. So we're really excited for you to start using Einstein Send Time Optimization for mobile push. Now I'll turn it over to Ajay.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Justin, for that absolutely wonderful overview. Super exciting stuff. Hello, everyone. My name is Ajay, and I'm a Senior Product Manager on the Marketing Cloud Einstein Analytics and Measurement team. I am delighted to share with you that we are now launching a new, improved version of Einstein Engagement Frequency for email. As marketers, you know that your consumers expect brands to understand their needs and provide them with personalized experiences. To this end, the new upgraded version of Einstein Engagement Frequency for email helps you send the right number of messages to every individual contact within your organization while maximizing engagement. We now have a new Einstein model that recommends personalized frequency thresholds and the optimal number of emails to send to every individual contact within your business unit. We also have a new frequency split activity to be used in Journey Builder. This frequency split automatically segments contacts based on their desire to receive emails and utilizes real time send metrics in order to make these decisions. Yes, we are super excited to announce that the real time send metrics are now available in our platform. In addition to being able to design personalized journeys for your contacts in each of these different frequency segments, now you can also view real time analytics pertaining to all the frequency split activities that are active within your live journeys. What are the most common use cases for Einstein Engagement Frequency, or EEF as we refer to it? You can now use EEF to identify the optimal number of email messages to send to every individual contact within your organization. You can pursue opportunities to market to identified contacts who have received too few email messages than what they prefer. You can also avoid email fatigue and irritation from contacts who have received too many email messages than what they prefer and reach out to them on a different channel instead. That being said, let us now jump into a quick demo and see everything in action. Let us consider a marketer, Monica, who is an existing EEF user. When she logs into Marketing Cloud and navigates to EEF from under the Einstein subnav, she is brought to the EEF landing page. Here, she sees a pop-up informing her of the availability of the new, improved version of EEF, which is personalized for every individual contact in her organization and also utilizes real-time recommendations. She is excited about this and clicks on Go to Setup. Once she is in the setup screen for EEF, she sees another pop-up that informs her that this setup is only for the new version of EEF and not for the existing version of EEF that she has already activated. By clicking on Got It, Monica acknowledges that activating the new upgraded version of EEF will overwrite her existing version and clear out her old EEF generated data extensions. She is now able to click on Activate. In order to activate successfully, Monica requires her organization to be provisioned with Journey Builder. If this is not the case, then she will see an announcement asking her to contact her Salesforce representative in order for her organization to be provisioned with Journey Builder. Once she clicks on Activate, the status changes from not activated to in progress in orange. It takes about 24 to 72 hours for Einstein to analyze the 90 days worth of historical engagement data and begin generating recommendations. Once this is complete, Monica now sees that the status is changed to activated in green. At any time she chooses, Monica can always come back into this setup screen and click on Deactivate in order to deactivate EEF for her business unit. Next, she navigates to Journey Builder. Let's assume that this is the month of March, and Monica wants to create a journey using the new frequency split activity that is available in Journey Builder. She has plans on creating some customized journeys for each of her contacts depending on their preferred frequency of receiving messages from the brand. She chooses the frequency split, which is available under Flow Controls, and adds that onto her canvas. When she clicks on the frequency split activity, she sees a configuration drawer open that contains the names of 4 different segments. First is saturated. This is the segment containing all the contacts who have received too many email messages than what they prefer. Second, almost saturated. This is the segment containing the contacts that are very close to becoming saturated. This is a segment that Monica is able to use as an early warning indicator for herself so that she can design a customized journey for these contacts to ensure that they receive only the most important emails. Next, on target. This is the segment containing the contacts who have been receiving the optimal number of emails. And finally, undersaturated. This is the segment containing contacts who have been receiving fewer than their preferred number of emails, and Monica has an opportunity to send them more emails. Monica now decides that she wants to identify all her saturated contacts and send them a re-engagement promo code via text. She also wants to select all the contacts that are 3 emails away from becoming saturated and send them the Easter blowout sale email, and send everyone else in her organization the daily March newsletter. She first clicks on the Add Path button next to the saturated segment. Next, she clicks on the Add Path button next to the Almost Saturated segment. In here, she sees that by default, this segment is configured to contain those contacts who are only 3 emails away from becoming saturated. This can be changed to either 1 or 5 emails as well. This setting is localized at a per journey level. She leaves it at the default option of 3 emails away from becoming saturated, and she clicks on Done. You can add any combination of the available paths. In order to be able to click Done, you would need to add at least one path to the canvas. On her canvas, she now sees 3 paths: saturated and almost saturated, as she had chosen, and a remainder path. The remainder path contains the contacts who are all on target and undersaturated. Since Monica did not explicitly add those 2 segments as paths, they are automatically bundled up into the remainder path. If Monica added all the available paths, or even the 3 main paths, which are saturated, on target, and undersaturated, then she would not see the remainder path show up on her canvas. Let's assume that Monica activated her journey and it is now live. She can come back into the journey canvas and click on the frequency split activity to view the activity metrics. In the activity analytics, she is able to view 2 tiles. The first one is an engagement overview that tells her the number of contacts evaluated by this frequency split in the last 30 days, which is 150,675, and the horizontal bar chart to the right of that gives her the count of contacts by the path taken after being evaluated by the frequency split activity. The second tile gives Monica further details on the count of contacts by engagement path at different snapshots in time. Monica can view this chart either weekly, or daily, or hourly. Let's assume that she wants to view this with an hourly level of granularity. Further, from the drop-down box, she can also choose to view these metrics for just today, or yesterday, or the last week, or the last trailing 7 days, or even the last 30 days. In addition to these cumulative metrics, Monica also wants to view a detailed list per contact. For this, she clicks on View Details next to the Engagement Activity Summary. She is brought to a view that contains a detailed list of every single contact that was evaluated by this frequency split activity. The first column in here identifies the contact by the contact key, and the second column contains the timestamp of when this contact entered the frequency split activity. The third column tells Monica the segment this contact belonged to at the time of evaluation as identified by Einstein. The fourth column tells Monica which path that contact was sent down once evaluated by the frequency split activity. The last column informs Monica if the frequency scores for that contact were personalized or not. If the value in the personalized column is no, then it means that we are seeing this contact for the very first time, or there is not enough data available for Einstein to make an accurate prediction. In this case, the Einstein identified segment will always be marked unknown, and these contacts will be sent down the on target path. We want to ensure that we do not block any of your contacts from receiving your emails, which is why we decided to send them down the on target path. And in cases where the on target path is not added to the canvas, these paths will follow the remainder path. In addition to viewing this data in a detailed view, Monica can also filter these results by the values of identified segment, or path taken, or personalized as well. Monica is pleased with all the data and metrics that are available to her, and now she decides to navigate to the EEF dashboard. When Monica navigates to the EEF dashboard, she sees a pop up informing her about what's new with this upgraded version of EEF. Just to recap, we now have a new Einstein model that recommends personalized frequency scores for every individual contact. We have a new frequency split activity for Journey Builder that works with real time metrics. As a marketer, you can prevent saturation by effectively using the new almost saturated early warning indicator and a new upgraded EEF dashboard. Monica clicks on Get Started. She now sees this new, simple, and elegant EEF dashboard that is split into 4 tiles. Immediately, she notices that there are no complex settings for her to try and learn, and all the charts are all separated out and easy to understand in an instant. All the metrics presented on the new EEF dashboard are for the last month, which is the last 28 days or trailing 4 weeks. Also, with this new improved version of EEF, we will not be supporting the EEF data extensions. Since EEF is now personalized at the individual contact level and uses real time metrics to automatically segment using the new frequency split, we are moving away from the data extensions, which are more static and need to be refreshed either daily or weekly. The first tile is an overview tile that tells Monica what EEF does. In case she wants to learn more about the underlying model, she can click on How the Model Works link, which will open a pop up that shows her what the inputs to the ML model are, what the outputs are, and how this model generates the personalized frequency recommendations. The next tile informs Monica how saturated her contact base is based on these past 4 weeks of engagement. She can see exactly how many contacts within our organization are saturated, on target, and undersaturated. The next tile tells Monica how the saturation levels correspond to frequency. Over the past month, among those contacts who received, let's say, 20 or 50 emails, she can see how many of them were undersaturated, on target, and saturated. She can view these counts as totals or even as percentages. She clicks on percentages. This view tells her from among those who received, let's say, 52 emails, 30% of those contacts were undersaturated, 50% were on target, and about 20% were saturated. Monica decides that she wants to view these as totals. The last tile informs Monica how the message engagement corresponds to frequency. The line charts in here represent the average open rates, click rates, and unsubscribe rates. The x-axes on this chart and the one above line up. For those contacts who received 25 or let's say 55 emails, Monica can see what their average open, click, and unsubscribe rates were. She can choose to view all these 3 line charts together or even individually by clicking on the corresponding names in the legend beneath. Clicking on open rate, she is only able to view the average open rates across the contacts in her organization. Monica is now extremely happy knowing that her journeys are working well, and she's effectively increasing her engagement rates as well as reducing email fatigue for her contacts. If you're interested in learning more about Einstein Engagement Frequency for email, we've included links and resources at the end of this presentation, and please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you all for your time. With that, let me pass it over to Brad.
Thanks so much, AJ. Hi, everyone. My name is Brad Wright, and I'm Senior Director of Product Management. I'm very excited to introduce you to our newest product, Customer 360 Audiences, launching in the Winter 21 release. Let's dig in.
As marketers, you know that consumers expect brands to provide relevant and personalized experiences. In fact, over 70% of customers expect companies to understand their needs, and 65% of customers have stopped doing business with companies that have done something they consider distrustful. But how are you supposed to understand your customers and do the right thing for them when the data about those customers is fragmented and siloed across 10, 15, or more different sources? Customer 360 Audiences, the new Salesforce enterprise class customer data platform, helps marketers ingest and unify data to create a marketer source of truth that you can use to create connected, personalized experiences across every touch point. Customer 360 Audiences enables marketers to ingest data, curate a unified customer record, a marketer source of truth, for their customers. It receives and captures high-fidelity consent signals as part of that source of truth so that you can do the right thing for your customers. Then you can understand your customers by easily creating segments, identifying who you wish to reach, and activate that source of truth to personalize every engagement using Marketing Cloud. Let's take a look at Customer 360 Audiences. First, our marketer logs into Audiences. She lands on the Customer 360 Audiences homepage. She sees the latest data streams, the latest segments, as well as the latest activations. This homepage is a familiar interface as it is built on the Salesforce Lightning platform. Our marketer navigates over to the Data Streams tab and clicks New, as she is going to add loyalty data to the system, which can be accessed through a Marketing Cloud data extension. She's prompted with a modal allowing her to choose her data stream source for ingest. She can choose from marketing, sales and service, or other sources such as cloud storage. She chooses Marketing Cloud. She chooses data extensions and selects the business unit where the data is stored, and then selects the data extension to ingest. She indicates the type of data that is being ingested. In this case, loyalty data is profile data because it's linked to an individual. She finishes reviewing the fields and clicks Next. She selects how the information will be refreshed and then deploys the data stream. Her data is immediately deployed to Customer 360 Audiences. Next, she wants this data to be available for insights and creating audience segments. So she chooses Start Data Mapping to map this loyalty data to the data model. She clicks Select Objects to choose what object she will be mapping her data to. And our marketer is presented with a list of all the objects included in the out-of-the-box data model. She knows that loyalty data is data about a person, so she finds the individual object from the data model. She then maps the fields, such as first name and last name, from the loyalty program data stream to the individual object in the data model with this easy visual mapping experience. By simply pointing and clicking fields to the appropriate map locations, she is able to match up the data source fields to the data model fields. She's able to add a few of her fields to the standard data model, but she sees that she needs to create a custom field to add the rest. She creates a custom field for loyalty point balance by clicking Add Field, and she indicates that the field type is a number. Then once again, she easily points and clicks to the appropriate mapped locations till the field is mapped. She creates another custom field for her loyalty status data and clicks Save. Wow, with just a few configuration steps, our marketer's loyalty data is now streaming into Customer 360 Audiences, is being regularly refreshed, and because she mapped it to the data model, it's now available for audience segmentation and insights. She wants to validate her system's identity resolution settings, so she accesses Setup Identity Resolution so she can review the existing settings and ensure her data sources are matched and merged appropriately. She's presented with options to match and merge on a few different criteria. She chooses to match on exact email and hits save. The powerful combination of match rules and reconciliation rules that Customer 360 Audiences provides ensures that her many data sources can be reconciled to create unified individuals. So far, our marketer has been able to ingest loyalty data, map the loyalty data to the data model, and resolve identities. She next navigates over to the Segment tab, as she now wants to be able to create a segment using the newly added loyalty data, as well as other attributes. She wants to include customers who are actively engaged in the loyalty program, have recently engaged, and are of high value. She names the segment High Value Engaged Customers with Points. And with this marketer-friendly drag and drop tool, she brings over her loyalty balance attributes to segment on customers that have a positive point balance in the loyalty program. Then her sales order data to target high-value customers who have spent more than $500 in the last 2 years. Next, she selects SMS engagement date and time to identify customers that have engaged with the brand on SMS at least once in the last 90 days. She then saves her segment and begins the count for the number of people in the segment based on the filters she's provided. Great. She has a count of the new segment made up of her best customers. She's now ready to activate her audience and wants to activate this segment to Journey Builder, so she clicks New Activation. She selects the NTO activation target that has already been set up by her team. She chooses which attributes she wants to send over at activation. She chooses first name, last name, and she also wants to reference the customer's loyalty point balance and loyalty status to further personalize her communications. Then she names the activation. And hits publish. And the audience segment is available for use in her campaign. She's now able to market specifically to these high-value customers, increasing her confidence that she's optimizing her marketing dollars by reaching the right audience. Now, we'll shift over to Journey Builder, where she can access this new audience directly inside her Marketing Cloud journey. She clicks Create New Journey and Single Send Journey as she wants to send a personalized message about a new product line the brand has launched to these high-value, engaged customers. She then selects the data extension to navigate over to where her audience is stored. She sees the segment of highly valued, engaged customers with points that she had created, and she can directly add this segment to her journey. Notice how easy it was for our marketer to leverage the tailored audience she created in Customer 360 Audiences here in Journey Builder. As we've demonstrated, Customer 360 Audiences easily performs data ingestion, unification, segmentation, and activation, putting the power in a marketer's hands to enable the personalized experiences that will drive even better marketing outcomes and higher customer satisfaction.
Thanks to all my Marketing Cloud colleagues for introducing these great new products and features in our Winter 21 release. Now I'm going to toss it back to Christina to take us through some Q&A.
Thank you, and hey again, everybody. I'm really excited to get started on this Q&A portion. We already have some questions coming in, but as a reminder, the faster you put in those questions in our Release Readiness Trailblazer community, the more the more likely that we're going to actually be able to get to them live. So if you think of them, go ahead and put them in. But if we don't get to them live, don't worry. We will follow up with you in the next few days. So Max, Justin, Ajay, Bradley, everybody feel good? Want to go ahead and start now?
Ready.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
awesome. Our first question comes to us from John. John is asking, what is the difference between Interaction Studio and the new Audience 360 solution? So if you could give us a little bit about when we would buy one versus the other.
Yeah, Christy, I'm happy to take that. So short answer, and then maybe a little bit more context to back up the answer. And I'll ask Max to sort of chime in as appropriate. You know, the short answer is that Customer 360 Audiences is our new product for marketer source of truth, for constructing marketer source of truth. It is the Salesforce customer data platform product. Interaction Studio is our market-leading, best-in-class, real-time personalization product. These two products are meant to work together to drive personalization across every touch point, whether it be outbound sending, inbound optimization, dynamic content optimization. So that's the short answer. Maybe the little bit longer answer in terms of context, time allowing here, is
oh yeah, go ahead.
When we look at the customer data platform space, we see a space that's very large and maybe a little fuzzy, right? We did an analysis of over 400 requests for proposal, and what we found is that really the way to think of this space is really from two different perspectives. One is that sort of system of insight perspective, which is Customer 360 Audiences. The center of gravity there being unifying data, harmonizing data, constructing marketer source of truth to derive personalization. And then the other endpoint is that real-time personalization, or what we refer to as system of engagement. So it's really about sort of what pain do you have to enter this space? Eventually, you're going to need both products. We feel you will need both products, right? So the guidance would be, just based on that perspective, if your pain points are about real-time personalization in sub 30 milliseconds, start with Interaction Studio. It's the best-in-class product for that. If your pain point is around constructing marketer source of truth to drive understanding through segmentation and insights and analysis, start with Customer 360 Audiences. We hope that you will eventually need and use both products, but that's sort of our guidance. So hopefully that gives you some clarity for that answer.
And Max, did you want to add something to that?
No, I mean, I think Bradley covered it, really, really nicely. It's about not just being able to develop that really, really deep understanding about your customer and all of those different data points, but then ultimately being able to take that information and act on it in real time to make sure that you're delivering that value to the end customer, regardless of where they might be. So it's a really, really nice relationship between the two products, and we're super excited about it.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. So we have a few questions from Seth. Very eager to get his questions out there. Seth asks, what are the benefits of using the journey over a standard triggered send? Anyone want to take that one?
Yeah, so I can help with that. So the transactional send journeys is a visual user interface for the new transactional API. Unlike the API entry event for multi-step journeys, the transactional send journeys sends directly out of the Marketing Cloud messaging platform, bypassing the journey orchestration service. So your sends are delivered in the fastest way possible. Our triggered send service remains available, but transactional send journeys is our fastest transactional sending service and offers additional features like real-time message disposition over a webhook.
All right. We have an API question as well. When the API is created, how do we see the API request definition to share with developers? So as an example, an order confirmation has a lot of variables attached. So how do we communicate those requirements to the website developers?
Sure. So the journey creates the definition automatically. Developers can access that definition by using the key created in the entry event. Developers will also send that key provided in the entry event.
Okay. And Seth's third question, will there be an update to the Commerce Marketing Cloud connector cartridge to use this new feature?
We are exploring a Commerce Card cartridge for transactional Send Journeys for a future release.
All right, that's good to know. So now you know, Seth, it's coming. They're thinking about it. Let me get this question to you, Ajay. Will I be able to use this new version of EEF if I do not have Journey Builder provisioned for my enterprise?
No. In order to be able to use the new version of Einstein Engagement Frequency, we require that your enterprise be provisioned with Journey Builder because we have the new Journey Builder split, and EEF automatically integrates with that. And we also have real-time event metrics to do automated segmentation for you.
All right. Max, I think this next question's for you. How does this new version of Interaction Studio differ from the version that existed prior to the acquisition and rebranding of Evergage?
Yeah, so there's a number of items that we're really excited about to bring to the table for the new iteration of Interaction Studio. So at the highest level, some of the key things to think about is the depth of data that you have available. So both from our real-time data capture capabilities that can be leveraged to help inform how we're talking to those end customers. So you saw in the demonstration there, being able to think about not just that click and conversion data, but also that active time spent or true engagement data. And then of course, pairing that up with the additional integration options for that real-time decisioning. And then of course, beyond just having rules-based decisioning, we also have flexible white box machine learning that can be applied to both recommendations use cases, so products, content, categories, as well as that next best offer decisioning. And then with any experience that we're running, you also have the abilities to A/B test. So thinking about ways in which to not just execute a single experience, but test and optimize to really help increase that agility from that business user perspective as you think about driving value out across any of those touch points or interaction points.
That sounds really great. Jen, can Path Optimizer be used to react to channel engagement other than email?
At this time, email engagement is the only automatic option in the feature, but other channel engagement metrics can be tracked today, and the manual winner option can be used to select a winner based on those other metrics. But we are looking to support other channels out of the box in the future.
Can you tell us anything else about roadmap-wise there? Maybe a time?
I can't speak to any timelines just yet.
That's okay. Do I have to be an existing Marketing Cloud customer to use Customer 360 Audiences?
Hey, I'm happy to take that, Christy. For those of you who are existing Marketing Cloud customers, we've made it really easy for you to add Customer 360 Audiences. So that's a great starting point. There's deep integration between Audiences and Marketing Cloud, deep affinity. So that's sort of a very natural sort of attach, if you will. For those of you who aren't existing Marketing Cloud customers, we've made it very easy to transact for both, right? They're bundled together, right? Part of our go-to-market is really bundling with Marketing Cloud so that you can become, a customer of Marketing Cloud, our best-in-class market-leading digital engagement platform, and Customer 360 Audiences together in one deal, one transaction. For those of you who wish to just transact for Customer 360 Audiences, there is a standalone option available as well. So long answer, short answer, you do not have to be an existing Marketing Cloud customer to use Customer 360 Audiences, but together they're better. They're better together.
I love that. Better together. And I'm glad that you went into that extra detail. When you say Einstein requires 90 days worth of historical engagement data for EEF recommendations, does this mean that I would need to wait 90 days after I activate EEF for my business unit? Any clarification there?
Yeah, that is a good question. So the thing is, for Einstein to be able to make accurate predictions, we need at least 90 days worth of historical engagement data. So as long as your business unit has historical engagement data that you bring in, it just takes about 24 to 70 hours for Einstein to analyze all the data and start making predictions. So effectively, you don't need to wait 90 days. It's just that we need 90 days worth of data.
Okay, so just provide it. Doesn't actually have to be calendar 90 days.
Correct. Yes.
That makes
Thank you,
sense.
Christy. Yeah.
Why can't I use the holdback feature for recurring entry schedules?
Good question. We currently restrict the holdback feature to single run schedule types because of performance reasons. So if you configured a test to run for 30 days and you were holding back 100,000 contacts, the holdback population would grow to 3 million sitting in the queue for a long period. So we're looking to support other types of scheduling in the future.
Okay. Justin, this next one's for you. Can I use STO in single send journeys?
Yeah, you actually can. So Jen showed a great demo of single send journeys, and you actually are able to use STO for both email and mobile sends in single send journeys.
Thank you. Who is meant to be the primary user of Interaction Studio?
Yeah, so Interaction Studio is designed to be very business user friendly. So business users and marketers have the ability to not just access and view all of the rich catalog and user data, but build segments without having to understand SQL queries, to build up iterations of various machine learning algorithms. So don't need to be a data scientist to access the machine learning. And then of course, actually build out campaigns and experiences across channel. But it's also meant to empower developers. So we're making sure that developers have access to define, for example, in our campaigns and template system, to help define what a business user can actually execute against or iterate or configure within that campaign. So it's very much a handshake between the business user and the developer, but it is very much a business user friendly platform in order to execute and optimize across channels.
Great. And I am looking at the time. We are going to go a little bit past the hour since we had so much in the actual content of the demos. Most of our speakers are staying, but Ajay, I do know that you have a hard stop. So thank you so much for joining us. But feel free to go whenever you have to, and I'll continue reading out these questions. If anybody can answer some of yours, hopefully somebody steps up, but don't feel like you need to stay.
Thank you very much, Christy. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. All right, another question we have in: how can I see which links are getting the most clicks in my single send emails?
Sure, you can view the total and unique click counts as well as any click-through rate of each link in a single send by clicking on the email activity post-send. You'll see some high-level engagement metrics there, but you can also click View Details and go to the Click Activity tab to see the stats per link.
All right. This next question's good. I thought Evergage was a CDP. How is that different? Or how is this different?
Yep. So I think Brad covered it really nicely earlier on when talking about the difference between Interaction Studio and C360 Audiences. So Interaction Studio is very much about being able to take that real-time understanding of both the business and the individual to execute out those real-time personalized and RTIM use cases across channels. So inherent to personalization is that understanding of that individual and the business. And then of course you also have C360. It's available to do a lot of that really great insight and analysis work that Brad had talked about before. And Brad, feel free to add in anything there if you'd like as well.
Yeah, I'll just add in again, just emphasizing our view, the Salesforce view, based on this analysis of, again, a lot of requests for proposal, is that it's better to think, we think it's better to think about this from these two pain points, these two different two different sets of capabilities. System of insight, which is really about marketer source of truth, audiences, and real-time personalization, or a system of engagement. And again, they are meant to work together. They're meant to complement each other, right? So it's about what is your primary pain in terms of where you start from. But again, we hope that and we expect that you'll end up using both of those products. That you'll see Salesforce sort of not really use the term customer data platform. We've made conscious choices not to do that, because again, we think that this is better viewed as these two sort of entry points, if you will, into this broader space, this broader market category.
Yeah. And I'm glad I asked, just to make sure that that was clear for everybody. I have multiple, this is actually one of the Ajay questions. Maybe I'll leave that towards the end if we have more time. I'll ask instead, how long does it take to implement Interaction Studio?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, between both our services team and our fantastic network of partners, we really like to focus on a rapid time to value, progressive implementation. So our standard kind of initial quick start phase can take anywhere between 8 to 10 weeks, thinking about that single channel, getting some of those low-hanging fruit use cases up and running. And then, of course, you can start to layer in additional data sources, extend out to additional channels. So making sure that you're not waiting for a 6-month implementation to start seeing value. We want to get that value early on in the process and then continue to iterate on top of that.
So just to be clear, there is no specific time period in which an implementation is going to happen?
We see a lot of our initial implementations, take between that 8 to 10 week period, but very much it's focusing on what types of use cases that you're actually looking to solve for. What are the data requirements for those use cases? Then we map that to that timeline. So it's very much a collaborative process alongside either our services team or the partner and the client.
That makes sense. What scale does C360 Audiences support?
Oh my God, great question. Again, Audiences is net new product for us. It's purpose built by Salesforce to empower marketers to build that marketer source of truth. Our design target is 1 billion with a B profiles. 1 billion. So that's the scale that this product is designed for, intended for, and being tested for.
Wow. Billion with B. Can I use Google Analytics 360 link tracking with single sends journeys?
Yes. Journey Builder, including single send journeys, makes it really easy to auto append the GA360 parameters to your message links. It works for emails and SMS messages, and you can see this by going to the settings gear in the journey.
Okay. This next one is also for you, actually. What's the difference between Email Studio triggered sends, the transactional API, and transactional send journeys?
I think we answered this in a different way at the beginning, but basically a transactional send journey is the user interface for the new transactional API.
And like I said, we do have another question that just came in the community from John. Can Audience 360 use any Salesforce data? So for example, the contact record is related to the account record that had revenue data. Can that revenue data be part of Audience 360?
Absolutely. So Customer 360 Audiences out of the gate, empowers marketers to quickly and easily land data into Audiences from both Marketing Cloud and Sales and Service Cloud. So any object, whether standard or custom objects in Sales or Service Cloud, can quickly and easily be ingested into Audiences via Audiences data streams. And you saw some of the data stream capability in the demo, but absolutely.
Awesome. Well, there you go, John. And I know we're at a couple minutes before 10 over, so I will go ahead and ask one more question and then go ahead and wrap up. Last question. I'm using Marketing Cloud's transactional API, but I don't see them as transactional send journeys. How come?
I can take that. You can update any existing transactional send definition to bring it into Journey Builder. This is done by setting the create journey option to true in the definition API in an HTTP patch request. And you can find an example of how to do that in our developer documentation.
All right. Is there any way maybe you could include a link to that developer documentation in a link afterwards on the community? I think.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Find. Awesome. Thank you. And that's it as far as questions I'm seeing come in. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up, but I do want to thank all of our speakers for helping today and setting up this awesome content for our customers. And of course, thank you for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed putting it together for you. And if we didn't get to your questions today, don't worry, we will follow up with you within the next few days. Remember, these webcasts are all recorded and they will be posted on the Salesforce Live website for later viewing. Remember to join our Marketing Cloud B2B Marketing Cloud group for all of the latest resources. And we're here all week. So please come back and join us again for the next session, which is Pardot. It's already on my mind. And I can't wait to hear how you're using these features at your company. So let's keep this conversation going on that Release Readiness Trailblazers community, where all Trailblazers go to be release ready.